The next session after ideation is formulation and recipe development. This is still under what? New product development. Formulations. Product formulation is the understanding of how materials behave and interact to provide enhanced properties, improved processing, and delivery of an active ingredient in a convenient and usable form. Marketing has a new idea for products. This concept is assigned to a product developer who starts researching, experimenting, ordering samples from suppliers, otherwise known as the road to first prototype. When creating a new product, the first tangible products will be made on a bench, top or up, or in a small scale. The first ingredients combinations will be in the form of recipes, perhaps based on a cookbook recipe. Ingredient suppliers or food processing literature with base formulas. The basic recipe, sometimes referred to as the gold standard formula, will be converted into a formula that can be scaled up into production. When recipes are transformed into formulas, they should be expressed in numeric units in terms of percentage, by weight, weight over volume, or by percentage plant basis. Steps for formulation or formulation development. One is you discuss your idea. You need to have an initial conversation with the contract development and manufacturing organization. So as so that they can gain a basic understanding of the product concepts of the products, a basic understanding of the product concept to make sure they are on the best fit of your project. The CDMO needs to determine that your product is a match with other expertise and equipment so they can carry your idea through development, formulation, testing, scale up, and packaging. If not, the CDMO should help point you in another direction. Determining CDMO fit is critical to develop success. Yeah, first is you need to have a conversation with the contract development and manufacturing organization. You have to have a conversation with the what manufacturing organization. You need to discuss your ideas with them, and so they can know what products you want. And then to you develop an NDA, that is the non-disclosure agreement. You sign the non-disclosure agreement with them after you've shared your ideas with them. You share with them like the ideas don't have to leak out because you know it is a competitive industry. So when you develop that agreement and you sign with the manufacturing organizations this agreement, and then they can go ahead on the other steps. Before discussing the sensitive details openly with the CDMO, you may want to take steps to get for more protection of your ideas and intellectual property. The CDMO should work with you to develop a non-disclosure agreement in order to respect your rights and protect your intellectual property. This is usually done with a mutual non-disclosure agreement. That is an agreement that protects all parties involved in the product and project discussion. The NDA can also help establish what happens after the formula is created. You should understand which part of the intellectual property belongs to you or to the CDMO. The CDMO will want to protect their formulation, know-how without placing limits on how you use the formulation. A well-written NDA leaves nothing to the imagination. And number three is to get down to details. Next, you should work with the CDMO to build a deep understanding of the specifics of the project and any special requirements you have. The CDMO will be able to understand the custom formulation needed. They should offer flexibility and expertise to help determine the best avenues for development and final products. You get to details now. You've shared the ideas, you've shared agreements on how you can keep your ideas safe and all that. Then you now get down to details. The requirements do the manufacturing organizations have the real requirements of skills needed to bring that product into life. And then you quote the price in phases. You need to know that what you are signing up for before any work is done. Estimating a project in phases gives you the flexibility to alter the plan based on milestones and results. The CDMO should be able to explain how their cost reflects their value. In other words, how their expertise, their labor, materials figure into price. They should strive to save you money where they can, but not at the expense of the safety, quality, or performance level required by your application. You need to quote price, discuss, of course, how much you'll be paid. They will be paid depending on the quality, their expertise, and all that. And then you agree on a timeline. Many formulations development projects can be completed within a 90 days time frame. Some smaller or repeat projects can even be done quickly. Some more ambitious projects can take as long as a year or even two. Depending on your requirements, a master agreement and or scope of work may be put together to specify deliverables. The goal of a CMDO of a CDMO is to get your idea to market as fast as is practical. And then you execute your product formulation project. Up until this point, you have completed steps 1 through 5. You have had an initial discussion about the project, developed and signed the NDA, agreed on the work to be performed, quoted a reasonable price, and agreed on an efficient timeline. Now it is time to get to work. In a typical project, raw materials are gathered, work starts in the formulation laboratory. Based on your years of experience, the development chemists will experiment with small batches in the lab to determine the right combination of ingredients that meets the product specification, and then application targeted materials and production costs. Yeah, and then the last stage is the execution, of course, when you've done all the other stages, met with the CMDO, set your timelines, signed your agreement, you've discussed the price, then you finally come into what to the product formulation stage, where you can form the product. They will need first the same deal will get into the lab, of course, check all the ingredients needed, but first they will produce it in a small amount, basically for market testing and all that and acceptability. Yeah, and then after that they cannot produce for you what you wanted to produce. A recipe development. Recipe development is the process of creating new dishes for various purposes, such as restaurant menu, the cookbook, or food products. A great recipe developer guides others on a path to creating good food. Recipe development involves the following. One is you come up with ideas, of course, it is very important in anything. And then selecting and sourcing ingredients. After you come up with the ideas, you check, select, and source the ingredients. And then you test and adjust the ingredients. After you test and adjust whether they are compatible and all that, and then you document the final products. You go into action, then you document the final product. Having clear process in place can help a recipe developer be more efficient and productive. It can also increase the chances of creating a successful original recipe. Before beginning the recipe development process, consider the following for inspiration. One is the intended audience. Who will use the new recipe? This helps guide ingredients and flavor choices. Before coming up with the recipe, of course, you have to consider the intended audience. What recipe or what product are you farming and which audience are you targeting? And then the type of cuisine. This informs the ingredient quantities and cooking methods, like the different cooking methods, maybe an Indian cooking method, the African, European, all that. You need to consider the type of cuisines. And then you need to consider the purpose of the recipe. Is the recipe intended for a specific occasion or event? If the recipe is intended for a specific occasion or event, it needs to be adjusted to accommodate a larger number of servings. It may require ingredients or cooking techniques not suitable for a formal event. If more suitable for a formal event, sorry. If the recipe is intended for everyday use, it must be easy and practical to make with ingredients that are readily available. And then two is any necessary accommodations. Does the recipe need to accommodate dietary restrictions or allergies? This is important for food safety and customer satisfaction. Yeah, before you come up with a recipe, you also need to consider any necessary accommodation. You need to consider restrictions, maybe people who are on weight loss and all that. And then you need to consider allergies and people who are allergic to specific ingredients and all that. And then you need to consider also time and resources. How much time and resources, such as equipment and staff, are available for recipe development and testing. Understanding these limitations guides the complexity and scale of the recipe. Our main steps in recipe development process are: one is recipe idea generation. The steps to take are while developing a recipe. One is you generate your recipe idea, and then this step is the new recipe development process is about finding inspiration and creating original ideas for new dishes. Once you start what direction your client wants to take, choose a theme or concept for your recipe development project. This could be a specific type of cuisine, holiday or season, dietary restriction, or another theme that inspires you. Look for inspirations in cookbooks, in magazines, online resources, and your own culinary experiences. Make a list of potential ingredients and flavors to add to that exciting recipe. Combine different ingredients and flavor to create something unique. Keep a notebook or idea journal to store your notes. Don't be afraid to take risks and try out unconventional ideas. You never know where they might lead. The idea generation process is all about inspiration, exploration, and creativity. Yeah. And we know in this food production thing, everything starts with an idea. Okay. Everything is about ideas. So in everything, even in setting up a recipe, in getting a product and all that, you need to first what? Generate an idea. And this idea comes from, of course, creativity, your own inspirations. Maybe you've always wanted to do something, your explorations, all that. And then two is ingredient selection. After you've come up with the idea and all that, then you select ingredients and sourcing. These steps involve choosing and obtaining the ingredients needed for the recipe. It impacts the overall flavor, texture, and appearance of the dishes. Here are some things to consider when selecting ingredients. One, and you need to choose ingredients that will complement each other in flavor and texture. For example, a pair of soft cheese with a crunchy cracker, or a sweet fruit with salt cured meats. Here, and you need to choose ingredients that will always complement each other. And then you need to also choose ingredients that will support the chosen theme. For example, if you're developing a Mexican inspired recipe, you might choose ingredients like chili peppers, cumin, and avocado. Yeah, you know very well. Like those ethnic recipes, you need to consider what that specific ethnic group usually consumes. And then think about the seasonality of the ingredients and choose fresh ingredients for the best flavor and value. Yeah, you look at the seasonality of the ingredients and make sure they are fresh and available during that time. Choose ingredients that are readily available and easy to find at your local grocery store or specialty market. Consider any dietary restrictions or allergies of your intended audience. Yeah, you need to consider anyone's allergies as you choose these ingredients. And then number three is testing and adjusting your recipe. As you cook, pay attention to the flavors, the textures, the appearance, the dish, and make adjustments. This might involve adding more seasonings, adjusting the cooking time, temperature, or changing the proportion of certain ingredients. Take notes as you go, including any changes that you make to the recipe. This will help you track your progress and make it easier to replicate the recipe later. Share the dishes with others for feedback and further testing. Ask for honest opinions and be open to constructive criticism. Yeah. After you've gotten your recipes and all that, you test and adjust. You can test and adjust. That is not during the cooking process, of course. Either the cooking or baking or any process as you're trying to get that product, that food product, into the final stage. You need to, of course, consider and look through a lot, look at the appearance, the textures, the flavors, tests, and all that, and try to adjust the seasonings or the ingredients until you get the best product you've always wanted. And then documenting and organizing your recipe. These steps involve writing down the ingredients and instructions clearly and concisely and creating a visual of the finished dish or product. Accurate documentation allows others to follow your recipe and achieve similar results. Clear and concise instructions makes it easier for readers to understand the process. Use headings, use bulletins, images, and break down the recipe into clear steps and highlight important information. Finally, document and organization can help protect your intellectual property. If you want to share or publish your recipe, copywriting or protecting it can prevent unauthorized use. This is especially important for professional chefs, food bloggers, and other food industry professionals who rely on their recipes for income and reputation. Yeah, after of course you're prepared and all that, you need to get your mind. It is very important. Maybe someday somebody would want to replicate your recipe. Understanding ingredients, functionality, and interactions. Understanding the internal components of foods helps product development teams formulate stable, palatable food products. The major food components consist of carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and water. These major components together make up 97% of mass of food. We will focus on the functionality of these components as it relates to food product development. Understanding the traits of foods helps predict reactions during food processing and assist in troubleshooting and foreseeing hurdles. An infinite variety of minor food components can be present, including vitamins, minerals, and food additives, components consisting of fibers, gums, and emulsifiers. By understanding the functional components of each ingredient and their interactions during processing, product developers can add helpful ingredients or eliminate unnecessary ones. So you need to understand ingredient functionality and interactions in these food products. And we know basically these food products are made up of carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, water, and even minerals and vitamins. We're going to look at carbohydrates, the interactions of those, how they interact in the food production processes and all that. A carbohydrate is an organic compound composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbohydrates are the most abundant organic molecule on Earth. It serves as the main source of energy for animals. Each gram carbohydrate produces 4 kilograms of energy, and sugar and starches are the main sources of carbohydrates energy. And then the types of carbohydrates we have this one is simple sugars or monosaccharides. They're the most basic unit of carbohydrates, and they include the glucose, fructose, galactose are examples of these monosaccharides. And sugar molecules consisting of 2 to 10 monosaccharides units are called the compound sugars or oligosaccharides. This they include the sucrose, which is the table sugar, is a disaccharide compound composed of glucose and fructose, and other oligosaccharides include the maltose, okay, which is glucose and glucose, lactose, which is lactate and lactose, which includes glucose and galactose, and then we have raffinose and starch, starchose, which is found in soybeans. Polysaccharides are carbohydrates that consist of more than 10 monosaccharide units. They may be made of a single monosaccharide, such as glucose and starch, or more complex, being made of multiple monosaccharides, as found in xanthan gum. The functions of monosaccharides or oligosaccharides in food. One is hydrophilicity, ability to bind water and control water activity. And also humectancy, which is keep things moist. And second is binding of flavors, flavor ligands. Yeah. These monosaccharides have the ability to bind with flavor, like sugar, water plus flavor. And then they also contribute brown color, that is the Maillard browning reaction. They also contribute sweetness, that is sucrose, corn syrup, and dextrose. Carbohydrate sugars, still, brown sugar is partially refined sucrose with a distinctive brown color. The result of residual molasses still present in the sugar. The sugar is characterized based on its color and may come in light and dark varieties depending on the molasses concentration. Brown sugars contains more water than the white table sugar. Corn syrup is a viscous clear sweetener that is made of glucose and short polymers that can improve the humectancy of baked food. Hydrolyzing cornstarch produces corn syrup. Dextro equivalent is used to distinguish varieties of corn syrup. The DE is the amount of total reducing sugars expressed as dextrose and calculated as a percentage of the total dry product. Hydrolyzed starch with a DE of less than 20 is considered maltodextrin. Maltodextrins are used as thickeners and stabilizers. These are all other types of carbohydrates, sugars. Fructose. Fructose is a monosaccharide that can be used in place of in place of sucrose. Hydrolyzing sucrose, resulting in the split of the simple sugars, fructose and dextrose, produces fructose. Crystalline fructose has a sweetness level at 1.3 relative to sucrose. Fruits contain fructose, hence the reference to this sugar as fruit sugar. The solubility of fructose is higher than sucrose and dextrose at all temperatures. Fructose contributes to the browning of baked goods because it is a reducing sugar. Glucose is a monosaccharide found in grains, fruits, and blood. It is commercially produced by completely hydrolyzing starch. Glucose is commercially available in a syrup and is commonly used in fermentation and confectionery application. Hydro, Polyhydric alcohols contain several hydroxyl groups, enabling them to be used as sweeteners. They are commonly used in chewing gums and hard candies. Examples of these polyhydric alcohols are sorbitol, mannitol, xylitol, and maltitol. These sugars substitutes are non-carcinogenic, but they have a laxative effect when consumed in large quantities. Other components of starch, other components of carbohydrates, sorry, we have also starch. Those ones where the sugars are found in this carbohydrate, and there are still more other components in carbohydrates. We have starch. Starches are dense, insoluble carbohydrate molecules that serve a variety of functions in food systems. Starch is generally composed of two polymers, that is amylose and amylopectin. Amylose is a straight chain, smaller molecule, while amylopectin is highly branched. Starches vary in their amylose and amylopectin composition, making each native starch have different characteristics. Starches are generally insoluble in cold water, but heat increases solubility. Starches used in food are derived from corn, wheat, rice, potato, and waxy maize. They are added to food systems to thicken or gear. The variable composition of the starches leads to differing functional properties among starch types. Modification of food starches creates starches that are fit for a variety of food processing conditions, from the high heat of canning procedures to stability through freeze-thaw cycles. Starches used for thickening act like balloons taking up water and space. The balloon action of starch creates high viscosity in the system. Potato starch is an effective thickening starch, while wheat starch is the least effective in increasing viscosity. Starch used for gelling must be broken in the system in order to form a gel. Gel strength and ritual gradation characteristics are dependent on the amylose and amylopectin makeup of the starch. To form a gel, heat is used to dissociate the molecules, and the gel structure is formed during cooling. Wheat starch, potato starch, and rice starch form straw, medium, and quick gels, respectively. Next is the modified starches. Modified starches are starches that have been altered from their native state through physical or chemical means. Modification allows starches to serve more targeted functions in food systems. Applications for modified starches include emulsification, thickening, or the prevention of crystallization due to freezing of food products. Modified starches are commonly made from tapioca, corn, and potatoes. Then pre-gelatinized starch. Pre-gelatinized starch is created by the heating of a starch suspension above its gelatinization temperature, followed by suspension drying. This process provides a product that gels and is soluble in cold water. Products that commonly use pre-gelatinized starch include the instant puddings, cake mixtures, wiped desserts in combination with gelatin, and instant potatoes and rice. And then acid modified starches. Acid thin boiling starches are obtained by treating starch with acid in water suspension at subgelatinization temperature. A property of acid modified starch includes decreased viscosity modification and decreased gel strength. Acid modified starches are used in the manufacture of gum candies and confections where a hot mixture must flow and then cool to form a firm gel. Then oxidized starch. Thin boiling starches are produced by subjecting the starch to an alkaline or sodium hydrochloride treatment below gelatinization temperature. Oxidized starch is used as a lower viscosity filler for salads, dressing, and mayonnaise. Unlike thin boiling starch, oxidized starch does not retrograde, nor does it set up an opaque gel. Cross-linked starch. Yeah, sorry. Cross-linked starch. Cross-linking is created through covalent bonding of two starch molecules to make a larger molecule. The starch granule gelatinization temperature increases in proportion to the extent of cross-linking, while the swelling power decreases. Cross-linked starch is used when high starch stability is demanded. These starches are used in fruit paste filling and salad dressing due to the ability to resist acid hydrolysis and remain stable at extreme pH values. Other starches, I'm going to look at the free thaw stability of products distributed or retailed frozen can be maintained through the use of starch phosphate or starch esters. Starch phosphate and starch esters are generated through chemical means. Both products can be used to obtain non-opaque pastes and improve the quality of foods that are distributed or retailed frozen. Application of starches. One, they applied in baking applications uses starches widely. Two, cookies use starches to control spread and thickness. Canned goods utilize starch to help give a clear flavor, release in baby foods, and improve texture and mouthfeel of pudding products. Dry mixes use starch products to control the absorption of fat and water. Starches control the spread and thickness of a pancake made from dry cakes. And then starches are even added to control the viscosity, body, and texture of sour cream and dips. Ready to eat, cereals may use starches to achieve the desired puffiness or flex strength. Maltodextrin. Maltodextrin are starches that are further hydrolyzed to have a dextro equivalent of less than 20. Maltodextrins can be prepared from any starch. As the dextrose equivalent goes up, the degree of polymerization decreases and the hygroscopicity, solubility, sweetness, freezing point, and browning efficiency increases. Lower dextrose equivalents lead to an increase in viscosity, binding ability, and crystal formation inhibition. They are used as a binder in granular bars and meat analogs. With days of artificial sweeteners that are less bulky and sweeter than sugar. Maltodextrins can be used to provide bulk in these products. Frozen applications and confections utilize low dextrin equivalent maltodextrins to reduce crystalline formation. Next is the fiber that was under starches, the different form of starches. And now we're going to look at the fibers, still a form of what? Carbohydrates. Uh, Fiber consumption decreased as a result of the processed food revolution and increased intake of refined grain products. Yeah, you know there is a lot of refined products in the market. The fibers include substances such as the plant cell walls that are indigestible by human enzymes in the stomach. The intake of certain fiber has been shown to reduce the risk of heart disease and some cancers. Soluble and insoluble fibers are found to reduce soluble and insoluble fibers are found in the same foods, but each functions differently. Soluble fiber is partially digested and provides some calories. Um, Soluble fiber is also credited with reducing cholesterol level. However, insoluble fibers speed up the time it takes for food to go through the body and add bulk to the stool. But no energy is received from ingestion of this insoluble fiber. As such as fruit, oats, and legumes provide soluble fibers, while wheat and rice provide insoluble fibers. Hydrocolloids or gums, still a form of fiber. Chocolate milk and yogurt, but is also utilized in the meat industry for hot dogs and hamburgers. Carrageen can also be used alongside other hydrocolloids to produce the desired texture in food system. A hydrocolloid is a long chain molecule that dissolves or swells in water and brine or saline solution. Hydrocolloids improve water holding capacity, structure, and mechanical properties and adhere in food applications. Carrageenane is a hydrocolloid derived from red seaweed. The- there are three main classes of carrageenane used in food applications. We have the kappa, iota, and lambda, all of which are soluble in hot water. The carrageenane is best used in foods that have pH above 4.3. Xanthan gum is derived from microorganisms. It is soluble in hot or cold water and useful in a wide pH range. The temperature has no effect on the viscosity of xanthan gum solutions. The gum functions better with careful preparation to hydrate the additive. The most effective method of preparing proper xanthan gum dispersion is using a mixture with a higher share rate. Xanthan gum can be found in salad dressing, beverages, and baked goods. Cellulose is a polysaccharide chain of repeating glucose units. The hydroxyl groups can be substituted with methyl, hydroxypromethyl, or carboxymethyl groups. This cellulose ether derives as cellulose gums. It is used in low-calorie foods as a binder and a thickener. Cellulose retards crystal growth, inhibits syneresis, contributes mouthfeel, and is odorless and tasteless. Alginate is found in the form of alginic acid, a polymer. Alginate solution gel quickly when used gels quickly when used with calcium ion or calcium citrate. Bakery fillings and artificial cherries use alginate as a gelling agent. Alginic acid is insoluble in water. Food scientists employ hydrocolloids in food systems to form products that have textures and consistencies that are desirable to the consumer with the wide varieties of products and uses in the hydrocolloid group. Choosing a specific product may take research, trial, and error. Suppliers can assist in finding the best hydrocolloid for a specific application. Okay, those ones were all different types of fibers that are used in the let's say in the food industry. Yeah. And then our bulking agents, these fibers, of course, we know earlier on, they have bulking agents of these carbohydrates. A food system utilize bulking agents to create products that take up more volume. Foods modified for special dietary needs, such as fat-free or sugar-free applications, especially need bulking agents. Commonly used bulking agents include the maltodextrins, the hydrocolloids, and the polydextrins, all these fibers. And then the maltodextrins are non-sweet, nutritive. They provide for kilocalories, carbohydrates that have a DE of less than 20. And then polydextrose provides 1 kilocalories and is a polysaccharide gum that functions as an emulsifier, a crystal inhibitor, a viscosity improver, a flavor retention, water activity control, and retards staling or spoiling. And then the polydextrose is also used in a bulking agent, a sweetener, and a hemictant. Hydrocolloids can also be used to give a thickening or viscosity building effect. Chemical reactions of carbohydrates. Chemical reactions involving carbohydrates include caramelization, demyelination reaction, gelation, starch gelatinization, and ritual degradation. Some carbohydrates are formulated into food for their ability to react, while others reactions are undesirable. One is caramelization. Caramelization is the direct heating of carbohydrates, usually sugars or syrups. The reaction is facilitated by small amount of acids and certain salts. Sucrose melts at 160 degrees Celsius and breaks down into glucose anhydride. Caramelization of sucrose requires a temperature of 200 degrees Celsius. As sucrose is heated, it loses some of its water molecules, and the final product of caramelization is called the caramelin. Caramelin is a dark, bitter, and insoluble pigment. This product is to be avoided prior to the production of caramelin. Desirable flavors occur, which are the result of a number of sugar, fragmentation, and dehydration products, including the diacetyl and acetic acid. Baking soda is often used to remove the bitter flavor from caramelization reactions. Commercial types of caramel color include the acid fast, the brewer's color, baker's color, and others. Acid fast caramel color uses an ammonium bisulfide catalyst to produce a cola color. And brewer's color is the product of heating a sucrose solution with ammonium ions. Through the pyrolysis of sucrose, a burnt sugar color is produced, which is called Becker's color. Second is the Maillard reaction. A Maillard reaction is a non-enzymatic browning reaction occurring when a protein and a reducing sugar are heated together over time. This reaction is significant in foods due to its ability to affect color, taste, and texture. The Maillard reactions occurs to produce desirable color during the browning of meat or the undesirable browning of spray-dried egg whites or fruit. The Maillard reaction also produces flavors that are desirable in some applications, such as flavors in bakery items and roasted coffee. Later stages of the Maillard reactions may result in the development of toxicity in the foods and the reduction of nutritional value. The Maillard reactions occurs when proteins and reducing sugars are joined together, leading to the onset of a brown pigment. Starch gelatinization. Native starch granules are insoluble in cold water due to association of amylopectin with amylose in form of regions of crystalline micelles. However, they can swell slightly and become partially hydrated. As the granules are heated, the weak hydrogen bonding in the crystalline micelle is disrupted. The crystal starts to swell and provide a sticky starch suspension with highly swollen intact granules dispersed in a solution of free starch molecules. Granules released during swelling. Continued swelling of the starch granules causes a breakdown in internal crystal structure. The amylose molecule is then solubilized, partially leaching out from the swollen starch granule into solution. The solubilized amylose begins to form an intergranular matrix, which causes an increase in viscosity. Molecular association among the amylose molecules and with other constituents, that is lipids or proteins, etc., occur. The swollen starch granules then breaks into fragments and are more susceptible to mechanical shearing. Changes in gelatinization takes place at around 52 degrees Celsius, depending on the type of starch. A continuous increase in temperature causes the granules to collapse and rupture. The degree of starch hydration depends on temperature, pH, shear, and concentration of water to starch. Gelation. Gel formation occurs when hydrogen bonds with straight chain amylose and water. With straight chain amylose and bonds with the straight chain amylose and water. This occurs, for example, as a starch paste is cooled. the starch chains becomes less energetic and the hydrogen bonds become stronger, forming a firmer gel. As a gel ages, or if it is frozen and thawed, the starch chains have a tendency to interact with each other and force out water. The release of water out of the gel is called syneresis. And amylose content and the molecular size of the amylose fraction influence the tendency of starches to thicken or wear. Gelling is a function of amylose, while swelling is a function of amylopectin. Gelation is demonstrated in gelatins, in pie fillings, and in puddings. Ritual degradation is the crystallization of a starch chain in the gel. During storage, amylose molecules reassociate and hydrogen bonding occurs. Amylose is more susceptible to ritual degradation than amylopectin. Ritual degradation is chiefly responsible for the staling of bread. It's generally a slow reaction, even though it starts soon after bread is baked. Additives such as butane can be are included in baked goods, formulations, as anti-staling agents. Also, packaging in good moisture barrier films can also slow down the retrodegradation process. Next is lipids. We're done with starch. With carbohydrates, sorry, I'm going to look at lipids. How the lipids interact in the food processing industry. Lipids are defined as water-insoluble organic substances found in animal and plant tissues, which are widely classified as fats and oils. Lipids that are solid at room temperature are referred to as fats, while lipids that are while those ones that are liquids are called oils. Lipids are extractable by nonpolar solvents such as the chloroform, hexane, and ether. The lipids consist of fatty acids, glycerides, they consist of non-glycerides, lipids, and complex lipids. Lipids. Lipids application in foods. The principal functionality of lipids in a food system is to provide body, mouthfeel, plasticity, moistness, color, and flavor. Both foods and oils can be incorporated in foods or used as a medium for processing. The type of foods used in new food products impact the shelf life and stability of the product, along with influencing sensory characteristics. Baked goods. The volume and texture characteristics of baked goods are directly related to the type and amount of lipids present in the system. When lipids are incorporated, they are dispersed throughout the batter or the dough. And dispersed lipid tenderizes the baked product by coating ingredients and interfering with the development of gluten and starch structures that provide rigidity in baked goods. Confectionery products. These lipids are used in baked goods and confectionery products. Confectionery products use fats and oils from various sources to increase the viscosity, prevent or promote crystallization, and provide desired sensory effects. In crystalline candies, lipids increase the viscosity of the syrup and interfere with the growth of sucrose crystals. Amorphous candies such as toffee and caramel use a high proportion of lipids to prevent the crystallization of sucrose. Colloids and emulsions. Colloids and emulsions. Colloids are mixtures that are non-homogeneous yet not heterogeneous. They are non-homogeneous and yet they are not heterogeneous. These colloids consist of particles such as liquid, gas, and solids suspended in a medium, which can be a solid, liquid, or gas. The types of colloids include the liquid in liquid, that is in salad dressing, liquid in solid, that is in jelly, gas in liquid, that is in foam, and gas in solid, which is in meringue. In contrast with colloids, emulsions are dispersions of one liquid in another, which are not readily soluble. The components of emulsions are called the continuous phase and the dispersed phase. The continuous represent the fluid that is more prevalent in the mixture. Then the most important variable determining emulsion properties are the types of emulsion, droplet distributions. Emulsion capacity is the ability of a protein solution or suspension to emulsify oil. Emulsion capacity is determined by electrical conductivity. For example, testing how much corn oil could be emulsified into 100 ml of protein. It's just the ability of a protein solution or suspension to emulsify oil or to break down oil. And then emulsion stability is the ability an emulsion has to remain stable and unchanged against coalescence. Emulsion stability is limited to the temperature, gravitational field strength, and the concentration of oil in the emulsion. Emulsion stability is commonly measured in terms of the amount of oil or cream separating from an emulsion during a certain period of time. Processing with lipids as a cooking medium. The use of oil as a cooking medium is utilized in the processing of many foods, including potato chips and donuts. The type of lipids chosen as a cooking medium is important because some oils are capable of deterioration at low temperatures. Shortening and butter are poor frying lipids because they have those smoke points and rapid acidity formation. Oils are usually the best choice for frying, but not oils are suitable for this application. Characteristics of lipids are one is crystallization, that is plasticity of fat is a physical characteristics, such as spreadability, that is in margarine, and depends on the amount of solids and melting point. Fat can be visualized as a mass of interlocking crystals, that is solid phase, holding a liquid phase. Take second is hydrogenation. Characteristics of liquid. We're still at the characteristics of lipids. One we said is crystallization. Two is hydrogenation. Hydrogenation is a process for improving the oxidative and thermal stability of fats and oils, and for converting vegetable oils to plastic fats with a desired level of hardness. Hydrogenation involves the catalytic addition of hydrogen to double bonds of fatty acids. And then deterioration of fats. The quality of lipids is affected by chemical reactions and treatment over the life of the product. Chemical degradation occurs due to rancidity, leaving disagreeable odors and flavors in the fatty substances. Heat and storage conditions are major factors in the breakdown and quality degradation of lipids. And rancidity, lipids in which rancidity has occurred produce of flavors that are undesirable for most consumers. Types of rancidity include the lipolysis, hydrolytic rancidity, and oxidative rancidity. Rancidity occurs in the presence of specific environmental factors. Oxidative needs oxygen, and lipolysis needs water. And then the effect of heating on these lipids, fats along with accelerating oxidative rancidity. Heating also causes polymers formation. The free fatty acids from lipolysis continue to degrade and form polymers as free fatty acids couple together. Polymer formations results in increased viscosity, which may increase forming in frying fat. Smoke point is different for each fat and gradually changes throughout its life. Fats and oils can be heated to high temperatures when they are fresh, but degradation by heat causes the smoke point to drop over time. Reduction in smoke point. In smoke point, temperatures are caused by hydrolysis of free fatty acids, causing excess glycerol to accumulate. Speciality for fats and fat substitutes. We're talking fat substitutes. There is the medium chain triglycerides. Medium chain triglycerides are specialty fats composed primarily of saturated 8 and 10 carbon fatty acids. These fats exhibit the following characteristics: they have low viscosity, they have bland odor and taste, they are colorless, they are heat stable, they are not metabolized through the gut but rather in the liver like carbohydrates. Fat replacers and substitutes. Fat replacers are important to the food business as more and more customers look to trim their waistline. The obesity problem in the United States have prompted the food industry to find better tasting alternatives in substitute fat. While retaining the desired texture and taste qualities, many fat replacing products are on the market, but there are a few that are of interest. And then olestra, sucrose, polyesters is a mixture of hexa, hepta, and octesters of sucrose with long chain fatty acids from vegetables that have been used to replace fat. The replaced products to use olestra was potato chips, Olestra is stable during heating and provides texture and mouthfeel similar to the products they are replacing. The biggest benefit of the fat replacer is that it is not digested or absorbed. Therefore, it provides 0 calories, but the side effect includes stomach cramping and diarrhea. And then maltine or 040 maltodextrin is a spray dried non-sweet carbohydrate made from hydrolyzed cornstarch. The product has a bland flavor and mouthfeel, a smooth mouthfeel. It contributes 4 kilocalories of product. This fat replacer can be used in many different types of foods, including baked foods, frozen desserts, and dressings. We're done with fat, with lipids. We're going to look at water now. Water is the key ingredient in any food product, and as it controls the appearance, texture, and flavor of foods. The high content of water in fruits and vegetables provide crunch and crisp texture, while the water holding capacity of meat influences color and texture. In addition, it is a dispersion medium for food and makes possible ionization of foods and bases, as demonstrated by the leavening action of baking powder in bakery products. In the presence of water, acids can hydrolyze sucrose to glucose and fructose, which is desirable in fruit, pectin jellies, and bread dough. Microorganisms spoil high moisture foods quickly, and tap water has a pH range of 7.5 to 8.5. Factors affecting boiling point of water. The boiling point of water is affected by atmospheric, geographic, and other factors. One is altitude. Altitude affects the boiling point. That is, for each 960 feet increase above sea level, the boiling point decreases by 1 degree Celsius. And then increased barometric pressure increases the boiling point. For example, cloudy days with lower barometric pressures may therefore decrease boiling point. And then steam pressure in a pressure canner may also raise the boiling point above 100 degrees Celsius. Adding solids also increases boiling point and reduces freezing points. Sugars, for example, increases the boiling point by zero point 0.5 in solution, whereas salt functions of protein in food production that I mentioned earlier. I don't know, maybe probably when I went off. Let me just go briefly. I will say the roles of proteins include they bind large amounts of water. They decrease viscosity of food system, confer cohesiveness and elastic properties to dough. They're used as emulsifying agents. They contribute to color. They support in enzymatic activities, and then they form food forms like egg coagulation. Yeah, this is still the same things, but now explanation into a deep explanation. Nutritional considerations and food product formulations. Proper nutritional considerations should therefore consider one, supplementation. When you're trying to, of course, come up with a food product formulation, you should consider supplementation. That is a substance or product that is added to a person's diet to make sure they get all the nutrients they need. It may include the vitamins, the minerals, proteins, fats, or anything that can be given by mouth or by tube or in a vein. And then you should look at also the dietetic regimens. A regimen is a set of rules about food and exercise that some people follow in order to stay healthy. Yeah, as you come up with a food formulation, you need to consider the dietetic regimens. And then you need to also consider the balanced quantities of nutrients. It's very important as you come up with a formulation. Each body needs a specified amount of nutrient and calories to stay active and healthy. A good diet enables us to get all the required nutrients without exceeding the recommended calorie intake per day. Adequate digestion, absorption, as well as transportation to utilize by the cells. Thank you. And that was really long. So let me give a brief summary of this course today. Right now, we had to look at all the different nutrients, like the different nutrients that are used in these food products that we use to come up with final products. And we know most of the food raw materials that we use for getting these products have proteins, have carbohydrates, have water, have lipids. Yeah. So we have to look into details in all the different forms, all the types of carbohydrates, the types of lipids, and all that are found in what? In those food products, and how they interact in the baking or the food development process. That's why you see, it is really, that's why it was vast enough, because I had to break it down stage by stage and step by step, so we understand how the different reactions caused by the different nutrients uh, give like the final affect our final product. Yeah. So in case there is any question since the start of the session, you're open.